I was the backup option for 3 men. Number 1 was my childhood sweetheart. He was still hung up on his first love. Number 2 was the lead singer of a somewhat famous band. After we slept together, he lit a cigarette. We're still friends, right? Number 3 was my direct boss. He warned me coldly, don't have any delusions. I will only marry a woman from a matching family background. Until my mom urged me to go on blind dates. My childhood sweetheart took out his household registration booklet. The lead singer said, I can't live without you anymore. The CEO handed me a pigeon egg-sized diamond ring. No, didn't we agree from the beginning that we were just playing around? Chapter 1. My mom called to urge me to go on a blind date. I brushed it off. Okay, I know. Send me the time and place. When I hung up, Eric came out of the bathroom. He had rolled up the sleeves of his beige sweater to his forearms and was holding the underwear he had just washed for me as he walked across the living room. He stood on the balcony, hanging the clothes to dry. Whose call was that? My mom's. The man moved the clothes into the sunlight, then turned to look at me. The gentle sunlight cast a golden edge around him, and his amber eyes were as light as early autumn leaves. I won't be home for dinner tonight. I made fish and vegetables. The fish is kept warm in the pot, and you just need to microwave the vegetables. He pulled down his sleeves and casually ruffled my hair. So gentle it was almost pampering. Don't order takeout, I replied vaguely, and watched him leave with his bag. I knew his first love was coming back to the country today. Chapter 2. I lived with Eric. He treated me like a daughter, washing my underwear by hand, clothes washed, meals cooked, everything taken care of. But I wasn't his girlfriend. He had always been waiting for Lily. Strictly speaking, I was a backup. I wasn't like this before. It's all those shoujo romance comics misleading people, writing nonsense about an ordinary heroine and a gentle childhood best friend who secretly loves her. I took one look at those stories. Isn't that just like me and Eric? Growing up together, inseparable playmates. He was gentle as jade, but only close to me, his little childhood friend. I looked average, had average grades, an average personality, but he always walked me to and from school, tutored me, even gave snacks to everyone around me, telling them, please be patient with her. That fed my imagination, a teenage girl's budding feelings. I started writing diaries, knitting him a scarf, giving him chocolates, until graduation night. Eric came to our class with flowers and a gift. In the noisy private room, the boy in white sang a tender love song, then took the microphone and confessed his teenage feelings. Shy, pure. I was nearly moved to tears. Finally Eric said, I want to tell you, I really like you. I stood up and shouted, I also like you, Lily. The room went silent. Everyone looked at me. My face turned red. I'm going to the bathroom. Sorry. I fled in embarrassment. When I returned from the bathroom, through the crack in the door, the beautiful class belle and my handsome childhood sweetheart were standing on the stage. Everyone was cheering, kiss, kiss. The boy lowered his head and asked her with reverent restraint, may I, Yao Yao? The girl blushed and nodded. I didn't keep watching. Chapter 3. After that, I avoided Eric. He waited outside my house for me. When I turned around to run, Eric grabbed my wrist tightly. Selena, he said, I've always seen you as a younger sister. You've got to be kidding me with this younger sister crap. What kind of brother teaches his sister homework with their faces almost touching? You boundaryless human central heating system. But I'd always handled things smoothly since I was young. Actually, I just care too much about saving face. I forced a smile. Haha. It's fine. You're such a good brother. Your little sister thanks you. Eric looked at me. He was good looking, with innocent puppy dog eyes and pale irises. Pitifully he said, then don't be mad at me, okay? Don't avoid me. I said, all right. Then immediately applied to a university as far away from him as humanly possible. Goodbye, sir. Chapter 4. Eric and I lost contact unilaterally for 4 years. He replied to messages in seconds. I replied after several lifetimes. He said he wanted to visit me during his vacation. My roommate and I immediately booked tickets and went traveling. Until my first year of work. He said he had been transferred to the company here. In my first year of working, I lived alone. I failed to become a capable, unbothered adult. Endless tasks and messy interpersonal relationships suffocated me. When I opened the door and saw Eric, I had already stayed up for 2 nights. My place was a mess, things scattered everywhere. Takeout boxes still in the trash. He was dressed neatly and held a large bag of fresh fruit. His eyes landed on the dark circles beneath mine. He simply curved his eyes and smiled gently. Like when we were kids. Knew you wouldn't take care of yourself. I was a little irritable. What are you doing here? He slipped past me effortlessly and walked inside. He patted my head and headed into the kitchen to wash the fruit. I followed behind, grumbling, I didn't let you in. He shoved a bowl of strawberries into my hands. Sit, eat. Before I could react, he was already cleaning. Unwashed dishes in the kitchen, fallen hair in the bathroom, sanitary pads lying crooked in the cabinet. 4 hours later, I was sitting in a spotless living room. Sunlight streamed onto me, warm and soft. On the coffee table was a bowl of noodles he cooked for me. I looked up at him. Eric was still mopping the floor. The Rilakkuma apron I bought hung around his waist, outlining his lean figure. Sweat beaded at his temples, dazzling under the sunlight. I narrowed my eyes at him. What do you mean by this? He tilted his head and smiled. Selena, I've taken care of you since we were kids. I said, I'm afraid your girlfriend will beat me to a pulp. Don't drag me into trouble, okay? He froze for a moment, his eyes dimming. We broke up long ago. She went abroad for college. I lowered my head and quietly ate the noodles. Chapter 5. Actually, by then I was already Pablo's backup option. But isn't there a saying, quantity changes lead to qualitative changes? Being a backup for one person makes you a backup, but being a backup for 2 people, aren't they, in a way, also my backups? Chapter 6. After I made up with Eric, we rented a big apartment, separate bedrooms. Now that his first love had returned, I couldn't keep living there. It was too big for one person anyway, so I might as well rent a new place. I went back to my room to pack a few things, then planned to head out to find Pablo. Have him help me look for a new apartment. He was a local. Chapter 7. I stood at the door and entered the code. The lock clicked open. When I stepped in, Pablo had just come out of the bathroom. His bath towel hung loosely on his hips. The steam tinged his pale face with a flush. Water dripped from his hair, slid down his V-line, and disappeared into the towel. His peach blossom eyes curved slightly as he expressionlessly opened the fridge, took out a can of cold beer, and gulped it down. I stared at his narrow waistline. Aren't you afraid I might be a bad person? He let out a short laugh, his voice chilled and raspy from the cold drink. You're the only one who knows the code to my place. Oh, I responded stiffly. Remembering why I came, I'm here too. Good timing. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. The faint scent of body wash enveloped me. His body was hot, and even the water droplets falling onto my neck felt scorching. Just finished showering. He took my earlobe into his mouth. Sticky and lingering. Especially. He bit each word hard. Especially clean. Chapter 8. When I came back to my senses from half-sleep, the sky was already dark. I was wearing only a shirt he had draped over me. Under the dim light, the kiss marks on my thighs looked almost blinding. I knew it. Every time I came to see Pablo, no matter the reason, things always ended up in bed. My legs were still a little weak when I got out of bed. I instinctively went to the balcony to look for him. He had a cigarette between his lips, his side profile looking lonely in the twilight. That's just how he was. Top-tier charm, enough to make girls lose their minds, even knowing what a jerk he was. The first second you saw his face, you still couldn't help feeling sorry for him. Not that there was anything to feel sorry about. Might as well feel sorry for myself instead. I leaned against the doorway. Why aren't you smoking? Pablo glanced back at me, his peach blossom eyes curved, like little hooks. Quitting, just holding it in my mouth for the taste. I was surprised. So sudden? I'd known Pablo for more than 6 years. He wasn't heavily addicted to cigarettes, but he had never tried to quit. He only avoided smoking in front of me. He took the cigarette out and kept smiling. Someone told me not to smoke. I caught a different meaning in his tone. A kind of omen, like a reformed playboy about to turn over a new leaf. I knew better than to say anything. He tossed the cigarette into the trash, turned to go inside. There was still half a bite mark from me on the back of his neck. She's coming over later to pick up her things. Don't come out. Seriously? I asked. He said, this time, it's probably real. Chapter 9. Pablo was the lead singer of a band. Somewhat famous. Ridiculously handsome. Spent money generously. And looked at people with such deep affection it was like he owed them a love debt from a past life. Back in sophomore year, I was dragged out drinking by friends. I'd been hurt too badly by Eric in high school. So in college, I didn't dare date anyone, until I met Pablo. It was like stepping out of the beginner's village and immediately running into an S-tier succubus. Us honest people had never seen anything like him. Not only was he a master at flirting, he also gave gifts. After 1 week he gave me a gold bracelet. In less than a month, he had me trained like a dog. I took the initiative to go to his place every night. Cleaned for him, washed his clothes, cooked for him, acted like his almost girlfriend, feeling proud of myself, completely oblivious to how strange his friends looked at me, until the day Pablo tricked me into bed. He had drunk too much that day. His friend called me with Pablo's phone, asking me to pick him up. There was a teasing, ambiguous laugh through the receiver. Sis-in-law, Pablo's drunk and keeps calling your name. My face burned. I stammered that I'd be right there. When Pablo saw me, he wrapped his arms around me, nuzzling into my neck. His soft hair brushed against me, making my heart itch. His breaths were hot against my skin, sending shivers across me. His voice was low, the ending tones lingering. He called me over and over. Baby, baby. I was coaxed until my brain turned to mush. Couldn't tell up from down. I even started imagining if our future home should raise a cat or a dog. After arriving at his place, I went to make honey water for him, but he grabbed my waist and pulled me onto the sofa. A kiss pressed down. My tongue was caught and tangled. My oxygen was stolen. I was completely defeated. Mind hazy. I only remembered his bright, gleaming eyes that night. Biting open a strawberry-flavored condom wrapper, he asked, "Is it okay?" I nodded. Chapter 10. Endless pleasure flooded over me like a rising tide. When I woke up, dawn was about to break. There was a silhouette on the balcony. The fire between his fingers flickered on and off. I instinctively picked up my phone to check the time. Early morning. The notifications were still pouring in, non-stop, all from different people. Baby, you're not coming to the bar tonight? Can I see you? Name your price. Pablo, can you please answer me? I really like you. I sobered up instantly, unlocked the phone. There was no password. The red dots on WeChat kept popping up. There were even money transfer notifications. My hands trembled a little. The balcony door slid open. Pablo walked in shirtless, red marks on his waist and abdomen still carrying traces of what we'd done. He was still smiling lazily. Awake? I held up the phone and looked at him. He said, "Pick anyone you want." I opened a chat. The other person had sent multiple messages, all unanswered by Pablo. I tapped on her moments. The person in the photos was stunning, glamorous, radiant, drop-dead gorgeous. He took the phone from my hand and said frankly, "That day I made a bet with my friends. You were the prize." I felt like crying and laughing at the same time. Should I be thanking him? Among all these beautiful women, he picked plain little me. He crushed out his cigarette and said lazily, "You liked it too, didn't you? Your voice sounded great." Smack. I slapped him. I must not cry, but the tears kept falling anyway. I pushed myself up. Pablo turned his head away, a red handprint blooming on his face. He clicked his tongue. "You really hit hard." I put on my clothes and supported myself against the wall as I walked out. Pablo grabbed his car keys. "Want a ride?" I ignored him, walked out on my own. He didn't say anything else. Chapter 11. Later. I kind of regretted it. That day I should have smashed him twice with the bedside lamp in the dark. How did I end up only giving him one slap? I'd been hurt twice in love, deeply wounded by scumbags. After sealing my heart off, I focused completely on studying. The pressure of graduate school recommendation in junior year was huge. I had nowhere to vent. My anxiety was so bad I lost hair every day. One day, unable to solve a problem again, I got a call from Pablo. He was dead drunk and calling random names. Roxana, I miss you so much. A wave of nameless anger rose in me. I decided to take a taxi over and slap him. As soon as I arrived, I banged the door hard. Pablo came to open it, supporting himself on the wall, leaning against it, looking down at me, like a faint ghost light in a night forest, eerie and bewitching. I was startled for a second. In the next moment, he suddenly grinned, shamelessly. You came, jerk. I pushed him onto the sofa, straddled him, and slapped him. Pablo's face was hit to the side. I finally let out my anger. He covered his cheek, looking at me with eyes misted over, pitifully saying, "Still hit so hard as always, Selena." I sneered. "You filthy jerk." Pablo curled his lips, smiling like it meant nothing. Suddenly he grabbed the back of my neck, crashing into me. Wild and messy. I bit his tongue. He groaned, panting, refusing to let go. I slapped him again. He took it, then tried to catch my hand, and as we kept hitting each other, our clothes disappeared. This time it was chocolate-flavored. My irritation turned me into a natural-born tormentor. Pablo cried and gasped. His peach blossom eyes reddened from crying, whimpering as he begged me, "Selena, good Selena." All my stress was released. Chapter 12. When I woke up, he was back to that dead fish posture, sitting by the bed smoking. He turned back, smiled at me. "We're still good friends, right?" My anger subsided. He didn't look as annoying. I calmly said, "Get lost," then got up and put on my clothes. He asked, "Want me to drive you?" I said, "Sure." Chapter 13. We silently started this disgraceful relationship. My only two requirements for Pablo were, use full precautions, and get checkups every half month. Thanks to Pablo, I was completely cured of my attraction to handsome men. My girlish fantasies died entirely. We did everything. Pablo had no bottom line. He was handsome, good in bed, knew how to sweet talk. Most importantly, free. He cried beautifully, and once off the bed, he turned into another person, careless, unrestrained, clear boundaries. I always thought someone like him would play around for his whole life. Chapter 14. There were faint voices coming from the living room. Pablo's voice was soft, laced with a smile, like he was telling a joke. And there was a girl's laughter, sweet and delicate. I opened the door a crack. Through the blur I saw a side profile. Slim, clean, long black hair, white dress, like a dewdrop on a gardenia. No wonder Pablo quit smoking so suddenly. I hated secondhand smoke. He only ever smoked on the balcony to avoid bothering me. I sat on the bed scrolling my phone for an hour. When I was about to leave, the two of them lingered at the entrance being lovey-dovey for over 20 minutes. After the door closed, I came out of the bedroom. Pablo still had a smile on his face. Gentle, so unlike his usual self. At this point, I couldn't even bring myself to ask him about renting a place. Fine, time to cut things off completely. I said, "Let's not see each other anymore." Pablo paused, the smile fading. He looked at me steadily for a moment, then went back to his usual careless grin. "This trick doesn't suit you." He thought I was jealous, trying to play hard to get. I hadn't read shoujo manga in ages, and I didn't believe in those man chases wife in flames of regret stories. I said calmly, "I'm serious." He stared at me for a while, walked past me to pour himself some water, and said lazily, "It's not like ours was a relationship that required seeing each other anyway." I nodded. "Then I'm leaving." He didn't say anything. I changed shoes and walked out. Just as the door was closing, I seemed to hear a soft click, like the sound of a lighter. Chapter 15. I got home late. I reheated the food Eric left and ate it, then watched a show on the sofa for a while. It was late. He still hadn't come back. I hesitated, wondering whether to ask him, but then thought, they probably rekindled their love, burning with passion. Asking would make me seem clueless. Eric had stayed loyal to Lily all these years. After we moved in together, A single man and a single woman under one roof. There were several times we almost crossed the line, but at the last moment, Eric always backed away. A few times I even saw his second brother standing at full salute. Yet he pushed me aside and got up. I'm going to the bathroom. Call him a jerk? He had the charm and looks to be promiscuous, yet he was still a virgin. Call him faithful? This kind of boundaryless warm guy brings bad luck to whoever dates him. I walked around the house, drafting my moving plan, then immediately started packing. At first I was clumsy. Gradually, I became efficient. I sealed a cardboard box and stretched, then headed to the bathroom to shower. Folding clothes was something Eric taught me. He was very skilled with housework. When I asked him to teach me, he smiled at me and tapped my forehead. Just leave it to me, Selena. Selena said. I want to learn. He couldn't refuse me, so he taught me, carefully, just like back in high school when he tutored me. Just leave it to me. Men are never reliable. The moment his first love comes back, he'll dump me and vanish. Might as well enjoy it while it lasts. But I can't let myself get spoiled. Chapter 16. When I woke up in the morning, Eric wasn't home. There was no breakfast in the pot either. I changed clothes and went downstairs to buy buns. As I left, I noticed he had changed shoes at the entrance. He must have come back in the middle of the night. I checked WeChat. Eric, Selena, I'll be on a business trip for a few days. Take care of yourself. The stir-fry shop and the breakfast shop downstairs are pretty clean. Not sure about other takeout places. Don't order from them. I replied, okay. Scrolling through moments on the way, I saw Lily posted last night. A man's greatest charm is his ability to solve problems. With a picture of a flight at the airport. Below, she added a comment herself. Just a small thing, the paperwork kept getting stuck and couldn't be done. Didn't expect him to ask for leave from the company immediately and take me back to my hometown to handle it. I took a bite of my bun and gave it a like. Chapter 17. Dragging myself to work with hatred. Happily slacking off on company time. In the pantry, coworkers were chattering about gossip. Did you see that beauty who went into Ryan's office today? Her legs are longer than my lifespan. You didn't see the necklace on her neck? The number of zeros in the price, I've only seen that many in Chengdu. I walked in. Someone immediately handed me a cup of coffee. Queen, I just made this. I really had become a seasoned veteran at the workplace. I took it and smiled. Thanked her. She eagerly leaned closer. Queen, did you see that beauty who came to find Ryan today? I think she's the daughter of the CEO of Xinyuan Tech. Rich. Gorgeous. I stole a few glances. The sexual tension between her and Ryan. Damn, unreal. I wasn't paying attention and casually responded. Sounds like a perfect match. Selena. A cold voice behind me. The gossip stopped instantly. I turned and saw Ryan standing there. Expression icy. Tall. Long legs. Wearing a tailored suit that screamed old money elegance. Emotions unreadable. For a moment, I felt guilty for no reason. He shifted his gaze away indifferently. Meeting with the marketing department in half an hour. I acknowledged softly. Watched him turn and walk away. The lingering chill made everyone too scared to speak. Chapter 18. Ryan. My boss. An aloof flower on a high mountain, cold and unapproachable. So strict that no one ever walked out of his office smiling. But the company benefits were too good. Coworkers said Ryan had a sort of unexpected charm. He looked indifferent. But behind the scenes, he actually considered his subordinates' well-being. I was a little intimidated by him. He reminded me of my middle school homeroom teacher, cold-faced, scolding me until I was in tears, yet giving me a little cake when my stomach growled. Chapter 19. I ended up messing around with him in my second year of work. I failed the recommendation interview for graduate school, so I obediently found a job. The first year was stressful. By the second year, I had become as slippery as wide noodles in hot pot. My position rose quickly, step by step. Eric raised me well. Pablo fed me well. Life was comfortable. I was quite satisfied. People can only be happy when they're content. Ryan was completely unexpected. The person who was supposed to accompany him on the business trip had an emergency at home and couldn't go. So I took over at the last minute. I was in full corporate slave mode. flattering the leaders, flattering the clients, serving tea and water, lowering myself as needed. That night at the banquet, the client got drunk, insisted on forming a sworn sibling bond with Ryan. The two of them chugged one glass after another. When I supported Ryan back to his room, he couldn't even walk straight. His body was dead heavy. I was sweating from the effort. I had just finished ordering hangover medicine when I turned around and somehow he had gotten into the bathtub. Ryan! I rushed over to pull him out, only to catch him unbuttoning his shirt, clumsily, slowly, taking forever to undo just one button, like a childish kid. I was stunned. I reached over to help button him back up, but every button I fastened, he unfastened one. Finally, he got annoyed and ripped them open in one go. The buttons flew across the floor. My eyes went completely wide. Ryan lifted his gaze, those eyes shimmering, hot. He took off his clothes and threw them on the floor. I picked them up, wanting to cover him. I'll lower the AC for you, Ryan. Put these on first. He threw them even farther. I went to get them again, turned around, and his pants were already off. Me, D? Be big. No, the bathtub. The bathtub is big. If I left him alone, tomorrow's headlines might be, CEO of a major company found drowned in hotel bathtub. I went over and tried to help him out. Let's get you up first, okay? We'll go to the bed. The hangover soup is coming soon. You'll catch a cold in here, MMPH. Ryan held the back of my neck and kissed me, lips against lips. It felt like he was simply trying to shut me up from rambling. The smell of alcohol made my head dizzy. Ryan reached out to turn on the water. Warm water started flowing. I reached out to turn it off again. Ryan got annoyed and bit my lips, held me tightly in his arms. I cried out in pain for a second. He took advantage of the moment, pushing forward, sweeping in, conquering everything. It took a long time before we separated. Ryan's lips were swollen, a sheen of moisture clinging to them. He raised his eyes to look at me, those sharp phoenix eyes now shimmering with liquid heat. I was silent for a moment. A good girl would have pushed him away, but I wasn't a good girl. I lowered my head and kissed him again. Chapter 20. I slept until late morning. Felt like I'd gone through an MMA match with someone. When I woke up, the sound of running water came from the bathroom. I pressed my forehead and sat up in bed, picking up my phone. The water stopped. Ryan walked out wearing a bathrobe, the belt tied tightly around his narrow waist. A pity the robe had a deep V-neck. You could still catch a glimpse of that shocking scenery beneath. Awake? His expression was calm, unreadable. I answered like a timid quail. He sat in the single-seater sofa and picked up his phone. Selena, your workability is acceptable. You have a kind of steady quality. I thought you would be relatively safe. Indirectly saying I looked average. He tapped a few times on the screen. My phone chimed. I looked down and unlocked it. A transfer notification. My eyes went wide again. Alcohol and adult stress sometimes cause low probability errors. He spoke concisely. I don't want this to become complicated. I nodded immediately. Since it's a mistake, we should correct. At the company, we are simply superior and subordinate, he said, in private. It's flesh and money, very pure. I was stunned. He looked straight at me, his eyes deep like a dark pond, cold enough to freeze a person if they fell in. He ignored me and changed clothes on his own. Selena, he walked to my bed and looked down on me from above. There was undisguised contempt in his eyes. Do not harbor any delusions. I will only date a woman of matching family background. Chapter 21. After he left, I lay down again, still immersed in the ecstasy of that huge transfer. As for what he had just said, I didn't really listen. Zero damage. Chapter 22. My first time being a rich man's companion on call. I had no experience. Ryan was not hard to serve. As long as I showed up whenever he called, that was enough. He didn't have many demands, no special preferences. After finishing, he told me to leave, didn't care whether I was tired or not. His technique was decent, but his aftercare was terrible, and just like that, half a year passed. I worked diligently. Finally, it was Ryan's birthday. I didn't know what other people in my profession did. So I even went online to ask. All sorts of weirdos crawled out in the comments. In the end, I decided to give him a pair of cufflinks. I hired a designer to create the concept, then had them custom made according to the blueprint. Time-consuming and expensive. I sighed at myself. Even as a companion, I was still so dedicated. Chapter 23. On his birthday. To show that I took it seriously, I handed him the jewelry box after reporting work that morning. Ryan, happy birthday. Ryan's eyes fell on the small box. His expression was hard to read. Thank you, but he did not reach out to take it. Selena. He lifted his eyes, his phoenix-shaped eyes sharp and cold. A chill that kept people miles away. I remember telling you that our relationship cannot progress further. No need to use these little tricks. You'd be better off focusing more on your work. Very indifferent. Do not overstep. I bent slightly and nodded. Understood. Then this. I tried to take the box back. He said, leave it. I stepped out. Internally, I cursed him. What a difficult man to serve. Ignore him and he gets upset. Take him seriously and he also gets upset. Flattering the boss really is a skill. Chapter 24. I didn't know if Ryan did it on purpose. Work that day was especially difficult. I worked overtime for a bit. When I was leaving, I ran into the cleaning lady. She couldn't hide the joy on her face. She was holding a small box. Looked familiar. I called out, Auntie. She stopped. My eyes fell on the small box in her hand. Confirmed it. It was the one I had given him that morning. I was confused. This is... I sometimes ran into her in the restroom and we'd greet each other. She didn't hide anything. Smiling brightly, Boss Ryan gave, oh, no. I saw this box when I was cleaning and throwing trash. Something about it looked valuable, so I opened it just to check. And goodness, the thing inside was brand new. Looked expensive at one glance. I was afraid someone dropped it by accident, so I went and asked Ryan. Auntie grinned wide. He said it was trash, told me I could just deal with it. I froze for a moment. She continued. It's still new, what a waste to throw it out. Look, it's so pretty. She opened it for me. My eyes fell on the pair of cufflinks. Under the hallway light, they sparkled, resting on velvet. Exquisite and beautiful. Yes, I smiled. One look and you can tell they're valuable. Auntie nodded. Exactly. Rich people, I swear. I said, Auntie, you should head home early. Looks like it's going to rain. Yes, I'll go now. I watched her back as she walked away. A windfall like that. Even her steps were lighter than usual. I withdrew my gaze and went to the elevator. Chapter 25. The elevator doors closed. My stiff smile reflected back at me. His damn father. I was so angry flames almost shot out of my head. You could have just said you threw it away. I would have gone and retrieved it myself. A whole month of my salary wasted. Damn capitalist. You think money is easy to make? I made up my mind. I was going to get every last cent back from him. Chapter 26. On Valentine's Day, I asked him for a gift. Ryan sent me a single question mark. Nervously, I sent him the link to a code on Taobao. Ryan. Did he think I was being too greedy? I typed, haha. Actually, I just wanted to ask if you think it looks nice. The typing cursor was still blinking. The next second, a payment successful notification sounded, and a transfer from Ryan, worth 5 or 6 times more than the coat. I was briefly stunned, but didn't forget to thank the boss before accepting the money. Chapter 27. Actually, I didn't dare to take too much. I was afraid Ryan would scold me. Look at yourself. Are you even qualified to ask for that much? I always calculated how much I could take based on my looks and market value. Sometimes Ryan looked at me oddly, as if he despised how petty I was. The things he voluntarily gave me were always 10 times more expensive than anything I asked for. After a while, I stopped asking, just waited for whatever slipped through his fingers. Even that was worth half a year of my salary. Damn rich people. Chapter 28. After becoming a backup, my life actually became more comfortable than before. When I ran into coworkers who used to trip me up, I could even smile and greet them, although being someone's backup is shameful. The big fat orange cat once said, with Ryan as my ATM, Pablo as my bed-warming servant, and Eric as my foot-washing servant. I have more than enough. Chapter 29. Without Eric. Without Pablo, I had some minor regrets. But it wasn't a big deal, only Ryan. I couldn't quite let go. After all, money is my one true love. Just thinking about losing a source of income hurt a little. Chapter 30. After the meeting ended, a coworker came over to chat. I carried my documents, answering his questions while walking out. I didn't notice Ryan was still sitting at the head of the table reading documents. When I got back to my office and reached into my pocket, I realized my phone had been left in the meeting room, so I went back to get it. Ryan was sitting alone in the meeting room. I froze for a second. Ryan, he responded without looking at me. I laughed awkwardly. I left my phone on the table during the meeting. The table was spotless. Huh? I walked to my previous seat and looked underneath. Nothing. Weird, maybe I left it in my office and forgot. Haha, my memory has been terrible lately. I talked while heading out. It's here. Ryan tapped his fingers on the table. I looked over. His expression was unreadable as he met my eyes. I walked over and picked it up. Thank you, boss. I'll head back to This tactic is terrible. He cut me off. I stared blankly, instinctively looked at my phone. On the lock screen were 2 messages from a blind date guy. Saturday at 10 a.m. Yunhai Cafe. Ryan said, I used to think you were tactful, a rather cute quality, but now your one and only advantage is gone. Selena, I am not going to. He said. This ends here, okay. I nodded. He seemed stunned for a moment, almost adorably surprised. I said, then I'll get back to work. He said nothing. I turned and left quickly. Perfect. Cutting off all 3 of them in one go. Chapter 31. Holding my phone. I walked out of the meeting room with footsteps as light as if I were going on a spring outing. Cut off. All cut off. Losing the ATM hurt a little. But if the old doesn't go, the new won't come. My mom was right. It was time to live like a normal person. I immediately replied to the blind date guy. Okay. He replied instantly. Looking forward to meeting you. Pretty polite. That made my mood even better. Finding a new place to live also got added to the agenda. I quickly browsed several 1-bedroom apartments online and made appointments to view them over the weekend. Saturday. I woke up early and put on full makeup. Looking at myself in the mirror, I nodded in satisfaction. Today I was also an ordinary, unremarkably chic city beauty. Yunhai Cafe. I arrived 10 minutes early. He wasn't here yet. I ordered a latte and found a seat by the window. Just as I sat down, a phone call came in. An unfamiliar number. I answered. Selena. It was Pablo. His voice hoarse, like sandpaper scraping. What do you want? I asked flatly. Where are you? If you have something to say, say it. If not, I'm hanging up. Don't. He panicked. I just want to see you. We already agreed, didn't we? I know. His voice lowered. Just one look, okay? I was annoyed. Pablo, don't act like we're parting forever. You were the one who said we should just be friends. You were the one who said you wanted something serious with someone else. What's wrong with you now? Silence. Then the click of a lighter. He was smoking again. She left. Pablo said. She said I can't forget you. I almost laughed. What does that have to do with me? Whether you forget me is your problem, not mine. Selena. I was wrong. Oh. I shouldn't have let you walk away that day. I'm such a damn idiot. Stop. I dug at my ear. Pablo. I'm not interested in this reformed heartbreaker storyline. You go live your life. And I'm starting my new one. New life? He asked sharply. From the corner of my eye, I saw a man in a white shirt walking toward me. Handsome in a gentle, scholarly way. Looked like my blind date partner whom I had never met. Into the phone. I purposely raised my voice. Of course, a happy life of blind dates, marriage, and having kids. Then I decisively hung up, blocked him. One clean sweep. Peace restored. Miss Selina? The man stopped in front of me. Polite. Yes. Dr. Oliver? He smiled and sat across from me. Sorry to keep you waiting. His full name was Oliver, a dentist. Just like his name. He didn't talk much. But he was sincere. We talked about work, hobbies, future plans. Everything was pleasant. The way he looked at me, no lust, no scheming, just calm appreciation. It felt very comfortable. Miss Selina, you are a very interesting person, Oliver said when we were leaving. I smiled. And you are a very steady person. He adjusted his glasses. Then, may we meet again next time? Of course. After exchanging WeChat, we said goodbye at the cafe door. I turned to go to the subway. A black Maybach slowly stopped in front of me. The window lowered, revealing Ryan's icy face. I froze. Why was he here? Get in, he ordered. I didn't move. Ryan, we're already done. I said get in. His tone sharpened, his gaze cutting like a blade. I didn't want to bicker with him on the street. So I opened the door and got in. The familiar cold wood scent filled the car, along with the suffocating pressure radiating from him. Who was that man just now? He asked. My friend. Friend? He let out a cold laugh. Selina, you sure find your next target quickly. I couldn't be bothered. Ex-boss. I don't think this concerns you? We were a simple relationship based on money and physical needs. Transaction terminated. We're strangers now. He choked on the word ex-boss. His face darkened further. Dentist? He said it like he had already run a background check. Stable job, clean family background. He does seem like a good marriage candidate. Yes. I nodded. Way better than certain capitalists who only know how to throw money at people while looking down on them. The temperature inside the car dropped instantly to freezing. Ryan stared at me, like he wanted to tear me apart. So you're that eager to marry someone? Otherwise? I countered. I'm not young. I can't stay your hidden bed partner forever. Can I? I gave you money. Yes. You gave me money. I smiled. But I don't want your money anymore. I want a normal life. Is that a problem? Ryan said nothing. The car sped all the way to my apartment building. Get out. I unfastened the seatbelt and left without looking back. I didn't see the depths of his eyes behind me, churning with emotions I couldn't understand. Chapter 32. I thought Ryan was just unwilling to accept it and would cause trouble once, then stop. I didn't expect that the next day at work, he would immediately start acting crazy. First, he called me into his office and made me rewrite my report 3 times, claiming the format was wrong. Then, during the department meeting, he publicly criticized my proposal for lack of creativity. I tolerated it. After all, he's the boss, and I'm just a corporate slave. Clients are God, and the boss is God's father. In the afternoon, he told me to go make coffee for him. That job had always been done by the administrative assistant. I went. When I entered with the coffee, he was leaning back in his chair, eyes closed, resting. I put the coffee on the table. Ryan, your coffee. He opened his eyes, his gaze landing on me. Who told you to wear that outfit? I looked down at my white blouse and black pencil skirt. Standard office lady attire. What was wrong with it? Too short. He said. Me, you're not allowed to wear it again. I took a deep breath, plastered on a professional fake smile. Okay, boss. And, he paused. What's on your neck? Instinctively, I touched my neck. Yesterday's mess with Pablo. He might have left a mark. I hurriedly used my hair to cover it. Nothing. Ryan stood up and walked toward me, step by step. His overwhelming presence made me subconsciously retreat, until my back hit the cold wall. He reached out, brushed aside the hair covering my neck. His fingertips were cold, sending goosebumps all over me. He did this? I didn't respond. Selina. Impressive. He let out a bitter laugh. You leave me and immediately jump into someone else's bed. We already ended. I reminded him. I didn't agree. I was stunned. Ryan, are you confused? We were just hookup partners. In a hookup, Either side can stop at any time. I don't want to stop now. He pinched my chin, forcing me to look at him. You belong to me. I don't. You do. He lowered his head and kissed me hard, punishing, rough, savage. I struggled. But he held me firmly in his arms. Only when I nearly suffocated did he let go. I gasped for air, glaring fiercely at him. Ryan, you bastard. I am a bastard. He wiped the corner of his mouth and smiled, though the smile didn't reach his eyes. But in this lifetime, don't even think about leaving me. Seeing the obsession and madness in his eyes, only one thought crossed my mind. This man is insane. Chapter 33. I went to see apartments on the weekend. The agent showed me several places, but I wasn't satisfied with any of them. The last one was in a high-end complex downtown, a one-bedroom apartment, beautifully decorated, fully furnished with all appliances. Most importantly, the security was great. I fell for it at first sight. This one, I said. The agent beamed with joy. Miss, you have good taste. The owner originally lived here himself, used only the best materials for the renovation, and he's only renting it out in a hurry because he's going abroad. I signed the contract and paid the deposit. That very night, I started moving. Eric wasn't around, so I could only be my own manual labor. I hauled big and small bags downstairs, so tired my back was about to snap. When I got to the last box, a pair of hands reached from behind me and took it. I'll do it. I turned around and saw Eric standing behind me, dusty and travel-worn. He looked thinner and tanner. There was blue stubble on his chin, and he seemed exhausted. Aren't you on a business trip? I came back early. He lifted the box easily. Why are you moving all of a sudden? The lease is up. I lied. He didn't question it, only said, why didn't you tell me? I would have helped you. Aren't you busy accompanying your first love? I snapped. Eric's movements paused. Selena, she and I. Stop. I didn't want to hear it. Whatever is going on between you two has nothing to do with me. The stuff's all moved. You can go now. I pushed him out the door and went to close it, but he blocked it with his hand. Selena, let's talk. There's nothing to talk about. There is. He stared at me stubbornly. I took her back because her grandfather is seriously ill. She couldn't handle things on her own. I came back as soon as everything was done. So what? It's over between us. He said. It ended years ago. Oh, I came back this time to make things clear with you. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was the digital watch I gave him in high school. Long since stopped. I kept it all this time. I looked at that watch, my feelings a tangled mess. Selena, I was a jerk before. I always thought what I felt for you was just a brother's feelings for a younger sister. Until this time, I was looking at her, but all I could think of was you. I wondered if you were eating properly, if you were staying up late again, if you had turned the house into a mess again. That's when I realized I've long been unable to live without you. He took my hand and placed the watch in my palm. Selena, give me another chance, please? His puppy dog eyes were wet, looking utterly pitiful. I almost softened, but I was no longer the 17-year-old Selena. Eric, I said, returning the watch to him. It's too late. There's no going back for us. His gaze dimmed instantly, like a golden retriever abandoned by its owner. I steeled myself and closed the door. From outside came his hoarse voice. Selena, I won't give up. Chapter 34. I thought my new life would start smoothly after I kicked out 2 lunatics. I was wrong. The next day at work, I found a huge bouquet of blue roses on my desk. The card was scrawled with, "To my queen," signed with a cocky F. My co-workers crowded around, faces full of gossip. Damn, sis, not bad. Which rich second gen is chasing you? I had a headache just looking at it. I tossed the bouquet into the trash, but in less than 10 minutes, an identical bouquet was delivered again, this time with a note attached. Throw it again, and I'll just buy the flower shop. Me? Fine, you win. At lunch in the cafeteria, just as I got my food, Pablo sat down across from me with his tray. He'd lost weight. The dark circles under his eyes were heavy, But those peach blossom eyes were still dangerously charming. Selena, the sweet and sour pork here is pretty good. Try it. He picked up a piece and put it in my bowl. I frowned. What are you doing here? Chasing you. Of course. He smiled like it was the most natural thing in the world. My coworkers around us had already begun whispering. I lowered my voice. Pablo, don't go too far. How am I going too far? He looked innocent. I'm just pursuing the person I like. Totally justified. I don't like you. That's okay. I can work hard until you do. I didn't bother responding and kept my head down to eat. He didn't speak either. Just kept staring at me. Under his gaze, I felt so uncomfortable that I hurried through my food and left. In the afternoon, the doctor asked me out to a movie that evening. I agreed. After work, I specifically went to the restroom to touch up my makeup. Just as I stepped out of the office building, I saw 3 cars parked at the entrance in a triangle formation. On the left, Ryan's Maybach. On the right, Pablo's flashy red Ferrari. In the middle, a low-key black Audi. I knew the plate well. It was Eric's. The 3 men leaned against their respective car doors. One cold as ice. One smiling like a wicked fox. One gentle as jade. 3 pairs of eyes, locked onto me in unison. The scene was basically a live-action love war battlefield. Colleagues coming and going at the entrance all stopped to stare. My scalp tingled. I felt like a little white rabbit targeted by 3 wolves. I took a deep breath and walked straight through the middle of them. Eyes forward. Stop. All 3 spoke at the same time. My steps halted. Ryan came over and grabbed my left hand. You're coming with me. Pablo refused to be outdone and grabbed my right hand. Selena, you said I'd be the one driving you. Eric blocked my path, face full of worry. Selena, it's so late. Where are you going? I felt like I was about to be torn into 3 pieces. Let go. I snapped. The 3 of them let go at the same time. I rubbed my sore wrists and glared coldly at them. What exactly do you all want? I want you. Ryan, concise as ever. I want you. Pablo followed immediately. I want to take care of you, Eric said. I let out a disbelieving laugh. And what did you each treat me as before? One of you said I was a little sister. One of you said I was just a friend. And one of you directly treated me like a commodity with a price tag. And now you say you want me. So that's that? Why? Did any of you bother to ask what I want? All 3 fell silent. On their faces was regret and helplessness I had never seen before. Selena, a gentle voice sounded. I turned and saw Oliver standing not far away. 2 movie tickets in his hand. He looked at the circus over here with a slight frown, but still walked over to me. The movie's about to start. He naturally took my hand. Let's go. I looked at him like he was my savior. Okay. I left with him, without looking back, leaving those 3 men and the mess of broken feathers behind me. Chapter 35. The movie was boring. I didn't take in a single word. My mind was full of those 3 lunatics. Oliver seemed to notice my distraction. Something on your mind? Nothing. I shook my head. Is it because of those 3 gentlemen? I stayed silent. If they're bothering you, I can help, he said. I looked at him, surprised. How would you help? He smiled but didn't answer. After that night, Ryan stopped sending flowers. Pablo stopped appearing in the cafeteria. And Eric stopped blocking my path. The world was finally peaceful. I thought they'd figured things out and given up. Until a week later, I received a package. Inside was a stack of documents. Ryan's company's tax evasion evidence, a plagiarism smoking gun from Pablo's band, and incriminating material about Eric's first love's father, corruption and bribery. Each one was enough to utterly destroy its target. At the very bottom was a sticky note, handwriting graceful. Now, they won't bother you anymore. Signed, Oliver. My hands and feet went cold. I finally understood what Oliver meant by help. He wasn't some gentle, harmless dentist. He was a poisonous snake hiding in the dark. I immediately called him. Why did you do this? For you, he said, voice still gentle. I told you, I don't want to see you troubled. But this is illegal. For you. It's worth it. I was speechless. What kind of cursed luck did I have to attract men more unhinged than the last? Oliver, destroy all of this, I said. I don't need this kind of help. Why? He asked. You don't like them, do you? I don't like them. But I never wanted them dead. Selena, you're too soft. He said. To be soft on your enemies is to be cruel to yourself. They're not my enemies. They are. He insisted. Anyone who tries to take you away from me is my enemy. I hung up. My mind was a mess. I stared at the bomb in my hands. And for the first time, I felt afraid. I didn't want things to go too far. I mailed all 3 sets of documents back to their owners with a note. Take care of yourselves. Chapter 36. The next day, in front of my new apartment, the 3-way interrogation happened again, only this time. None of them looked good. Did you send these? Ryan asked. I nodded. Where did you get them? Pablo demanded. That's not important, I said. What matters is, you know exactly what will happen if any of this gets exposed. All 3 fell silent. I don't want any ties with you anymore, I said, enunciating each word. You walk your sunlit road, and I'll walk my single-log bridge. From now on, we owe each other nothing. No, Eric was the first to object. Selena, I can't live without you. Same here, Pablo said. I can handle my own crap. But you, I'm not letting you go. Ryan didn't speak, just stared at me intensely, as if I were a lost treasure recovered. My head throbbed painfully. What will it take for you all to leave me alone? We won't. All 3 spoke in unison. Me, fine. You win. I took a step back and looked at them. Okay, so you won't back off, right? Then solve it yourselves. Whoever wins, I'll be with him. I threw the problem right back at them, then slammed the door shut. Silence at last. I leaned against the door and let out a long breath. I knew it was only temporary. Those 3 men were all powder kegs waiting to explode. A storm was inevitable, but so what? After all, it wasn't my headache anymore. Chapter 37. In the days that followed, my life was exceptionally exciting. Every day, I could see those 3 men on the financial news, entertainment gossip, and social headlines. Ryan's company was anonymously reported. The tax authorities had already intervened to investigate. Pablo's band was exposed for plagiarism. Their new album was taken down, their concert canceled, and they were facing massive compensation claims. As for Eric's first love's family, because of corruption issues, the disciplinary commission had invited them in for tea. I guessed all this was Oliver's masterpiece, and those 3 were not exactly pushovers either. Ryan quickly stabilized the situation at his company and started to fight back. Several small companies that had opposed him went bankrupt one after another. Pablo held a press conference, tearfully admitting his mistakes, and announced he was leaving the band and going solo. Eric used his family connections to pull his first love's family out of trouble, on the condition that they immediately go abroad and never come back. The 3 of them were busy putting out fires in their own lives. Yet they still found ways to keep showing up in front of me. Today, Ryan sent someone to deliver a limited edition sports car. Tomorrow, Pablo booked out an entire square and used drones to set off fireworks for me. The day after, Eric directly bought the apartment below mine and started cooking 3 meals a day for me, each day with new variations. And Oliver, like a ghost, would appear by my side from time to time, reminding me that none of those 3 were good men, and only he was truly my perfect match. I felt like I was living as the heroine of a trashy primetime melodrama, the kind with 4 male leads fighting over 1 woman. I got fed up. I invited all 4 of them to my new place. 4 men sat in my small living room, clearly divided, each one annoyed by the others. The air was thick with gunpowder. I sat across from them, legs crossed. All right. Say it. What do you all actually want? I want you, Ryan said. I want you, Pablo said. I want you, Eric said. I want you, Oliver said. I laughed. But I don't want any of you. I just want to live my own little life. The way you're acting is making things very difficult for me. All 4 men stared at me in silence. Here's the deal, I said. I'll give you a choice. From now on, all 4 of you have to listen to me. If I tell you to go east, you don't go west. If I tell you to beat the dog, you don't go chase the chickens. Whoever can't do it, or makes me unhappy, disappears from my sight immediately. If you agree, you stay. If you don't, you can leave right now. I thought at least 1 or 2 of them wouldn't be able to stand the humiliation and would storm out, but to my surprise, not a single one moved. Ryan, all right. Pablo, no problem. Eric, I'll do whatever you say. Oliver, as long as I can stay by your side. I looked at the 4 of them, a domineering CEO, a rock and roll bad boy, a loyal childhood sweetheart, and a Yandere dentist. All of them had become my subjects under the hem of my skirt. Suddenly, I felt like this wasn't such a bad arrangement. What's the point of being someone's backup? Being the queen is what's truly fun. I cleared my throat. All right then, I'm announcing rule number 1. Number 1, Eric, from now on, you're in charge of my daily life. All housework is on you. Eric's eyes lit up. Okay. Number 2, Pablo, you're in charge of my entertainment. Come whenever I call. Pablo whistled. Gladly at your service, my queen. Number 3, Ryan, you're in charge of my finances. Simply put, you're my mobile ATM. Ryan's face didn't change as he gave a small nod. As for you, I looked at Oliver. You're responsible for dealing with certain problems that those 3 can't handle. Oliver smiled. Like a sly fox. As you command. I looked at them, very satisfied. Good. From today on, you all belong to me. Behave yourselves. If you perform well, there will be rewards. If you don't, I paused and gave a wicked little smile. I'll replace you. From then on, I started living the life of my dreams. In the morning, Eric would make a nutritious breakfast and gently wake me up for work. Ryan's driver would be waiting downstairs right on time, and the balance in my bank card refreshed my understanding of money every day. After work, Pablo would take me to the latest movies, the hottest live shows, or just sit by the river playing his guitar, singing love songs for me. On weekends, if I wanted to stay home, I stayed home. If I wanted to go out, I went out. Eric kept the house neat and tidy. Ryan handled all itineraries and expenses. Pablo accompanied me in going wild and being silly. If someone with no sense decided to mess with me, before I could even say a word, Oliver would make sure they learned what it meant to vanish from the human world. As for me, all I had to do was lie flat and enjoy it. My friends all said I was being kept by 4 men. I corrected them. Wrong. I'm the one keeping 4 men. One whose job was to stay pretty like a flower. One whose job was to make money and support the household. One whose job was to do the laundry and cooking. And one whose job was to take out the trash. This kind of life, even a god couldn't offer me a better deal. I was no longer anyone's backup. They were mine. And what's more, they were happy about it, and proud of it. After all, how could a man chosen by the queen be ordinary? As for morality, what's that? Can you eat it? As long as I have no morals, no one can morally blackmail me. As long as I'm shameless enough, I can have the whole world.